What's up, guys? So I am back with another word. It's not necessarily prophetic though. It's just a message, just a simple message. And I wanted to talk about going nowhere fast. Okay, going nowhere fast. So when I do like little messages and little teachings like this, I like to use definition because the power of definition is something amazing. I find that it's very difficult for people to understand what you're trying to say using the terms that you're using if you never give them the context around the word or the information that you are using. So going nowhere fast. The definition that I came up with is pursuing with speed but never reaching a destination. Okay, so essentially, I have my notes here. I'm a note taker. So essentially this means that you're running in place and eventually you will do this until it causes exhaustion. Okay, we know this scientifically today as insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking that you're going to get a different result. And that's what makes it, that's what causes insanity. Okay, thinking that you're going to get a different result by doing the same thing that you've always been doing, and it doesn't work like that. All right, so the reason the reason behind us getting into these spaces where we're attacking things quickly, or we're, pursuing these things with speed, but we never get to the Lord. The reason this happens is because there is a lack of consistent communication with God. Okay, so you have to understand that God is the one who gives instructions. We don't come up with instructions on our own. God gives us instructions, and it's our job to either obey those instructions or deal with the consequences of not obeying those instructions. Okay, so I wrote, this happens due to our own decision making, and our decisions are based off of our own selfish heart's desires. Okay, so I say this, let's go back to going nowhere fast because it all corresponds, it all goes together. When I say that you're going nowhere fast, meaning that you have a desire in your heart, but we can't trust the desires of our heart if they were not given to us by God, because we have so many other people, so many other ideas that we're listening to. Okay, so we make these decisions based off of ideas that we have about ourselves, ideas that we get about ourselves from other people, and ideas of other people based off of what we want for our lives. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, so what does this look like? This looks like getting a job, and say, like, someone who works at this job, but someone who works at this job and they get you a job there, and then you end up hating it. Did you get instructions from God to go and work at that facility? If you didn't, why are you there? It's like that. Another way this looks is getting a house or an apartment or just somewhere to stay. And I'm saying this because these desires that we have sometimes aren't even our own desires, guys. These are things that we see other people with, or we see other people experience, and we want that experience for ourselves. We want that feeling for ourselves, and that's where it becomes a selfish desire. It's not something that God put in your heart. Not to say that God won't put in your heart to get a new job or to get a house or an apartment or a car or anything like that. He will give you that desire, but it won't be like you're at a standstill, and I'm going to keep going into details. Like, God isn't going to give you a job or allow you to go to a place at a job and you like just overall dislike it. You'll have things that you dislike here and there, but to just outright dislike the whole situation, I think is just, everybody have their own ideas, but I don't think God would send you into a place that you would just hate. God doesn't give you anything that he hasn't prepared you for. So if he sends you into a undesired place, he's going to tell you that you won't desire this thing. You're not going to desire it, but I still need you to go. Okay. So sorry about that little rant. I just had to break that down a little more. So this also looks like, getting a house or an apartment or something like that. That's where I was. And we get these things because we see other people have them. But then we get there and we realize that we can't afford to be there. We don't really like the environment, just little key factors that we should think about before we actually make the move. But because we are in constant communication with God and not receiving the downloads and the instructions that he's wanting to give us, we go and we pursue quickly and still end up being nowhere. Okay. Another way this looks like is, having a degree, graduating with debt and a certificate because you thought it was the thing to do. You thought, it's something that your family has done for generation to generation, or it's something that your family didn't do from generation to generation, and you thought that it was something that you had to do. And if it wasn't instruction given to you by God, then you're just, it's not what you were supposed to be doing. Okay. And this is why things become stressful and just undesiring, and just you feel overwhelmed and stuff like that, because most of the time you're not supposed to be doing it. Okay. So I'm not going to give you any more examples. I feel like you all get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So how to stop it? Communication. God, am I supposed to be here? Communicate with God. Allow God to communicate back with you. Number 2, make the necessary adjustments. So after that communication portion, that first step, God is going to tell you whether or not you're supposed to be there, or whether or not you are supposed to be there. He's going to tell you whether you're supposed to be there, whether you're not supposed to be there. So what you do is you make the necessary adjustments. This looks like not doing the things that you were once doing, not being around the people you were once around, not partaking in the habits that you once partook in. Okay. That's where we move into deliverance. Okay. And deliverance is a mindset shift. Okay. So it's taking out all of those old things, in hopes of filling them with new. Okay. So after deliverance is research and development. Research and development. This is whatever God is calling you to. You need to do research about it and begin to develop that skill. He'll develop that skill in you, but you have to first take the steps, meaning you have to go and do the research. You have to begin to allow that thing to unfold in front of you while you implement and add those pieces to your daily activities. After research and development, release control, meaning do it. Once it's done, you give it back to God. Okay, you give it back. And you want to do this consistently and diligently. Okay, and this is how you become a steward over what it is that God is trying to do for you in your life. I do want to say that the scripture that I had based off of this is Jonah 1, the whole chapter actually, Jonah 1. If you don't know the story of Jonah, then I would urge you to go read that. So again, this is not a prophetic message, but it was a message that I felt led to come up here and do. So hopefully this helps someone, and I'll see y'all later.